Hi everyone, Felix here. Would you like to join us here at Camp Myth? Show us how you're enjoying the story so far, and our favourite entry will entitle the winner to join Moxie, Argy and me, Felix, in a future Camp Myth story. Any type of entry is fine. Drawings, stories, poems, photographs. How about a video of you singing Centaur Races? Submit them by December the 31st of this year, 2013, to campmyth@castofwonders.org. Hope to see you.
This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome to Camp Myth. Chapter 10, November 27th, 2013. Welcome back, campers. Are you ready for Chapter 10? Argy and Moxie have returned, and Lil has told Felix all about collecting merit badges. But before our trio could plan their next adventure, the opening ceremony began. Everybody quiet down. Let's listen to the presentation. Where were we? Yes.
Camp Myth, Phoenix Watching, by Chris Lewis Carter. Chapter 10. The wisps formed a glowing pathway around the tree as Tessa took to the stage, her fan of 9 tails swaying hypnotically as she walked. There was a round of applause, which she accepted with a graceful wave, and then she traced a design across her neck with her finger.
"Good evening, dear campers,"
she said. Her voice echoed throughout the entire crowd. She must have drawn some kind of sound amplification room.
"It is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to Camp Myth, and to introduce one of the truly great pillars of the mythic community. Please join me in welcoming him by standing and reciting the official camp oath."
I didn't even know that such a thing existed, but practically everyone else rose from their seats, cupped their right hands to make a C, and spread 3 fingers from their left hands onto their right, forming a crude version of the CM logo. And then they spoke.
"Camp Myth, your name we say with pride, our haven from the world outside. From when this mountain we descend, all mythic creed we shall defend."
More wisps gathered at the front of the stage and combined to make a spotlight.
Legends and gentle myths, please give a warm welcome to the founder of Camp Myth, a very dear friend of mine, Asterion.
The crowd started cheering, and another creature appeared from around the tree, limping his way along the smoky path to centre stage. He gave Tessa a hug, and she moved off to the side, allowing him to have our undivided attention. Not that he needed any help, though. The Minotaur that stood before us commanded respect by his appearance alone. It's said that only the strongest or luckiest Minotaurs live to reach old age, and Asterion clearly belonged to the former category, as the wisps illuminated all of the scars from his various battles. Matted red fur that grew in patches around his white tunic, a broken right horn, a trio of fleshy purple claw marks that ran from his forehead to the bottom of his snout, 2 fingers missing from his left hand, and, more incredible than all his other wounds combined, a solid grey pillar for a right leg that did not bend with the rest of his body as he moved. He walked as though it weighed several hundred pounds, and I quickly realised why that was. It had been turned to stone. He certainly looked the part of a fearsome warrior, but at the same time there was an unmistakable kindness in his smile. As he waved to us from the stage, grinning with a mouthful of crooked teeth, I couldn't help but feel a little bit safer knowing he was in charge.
"Welcome home, campers,"
he said with a laboured rasp that suggested his voice had also suffered some form of injury.
"It does my old heart good to see all of you back here for another summer. No matter how many times I do this, and I've done this many, many times, it still fills me with pride to look out across this field and see so many promising young creatures.
There was another round of cheering. It sounded genuine, not the polite reverence typically shown to adults in charge. Clearly, everyone at the camp thought very highly of Asterion.
My friends, today marks the 478th anniversary of the Grand Divide, when it was decided that our kind would no longer live amongst the human population. Unfortunately, this decision, which was meant to bring balance to both groups, has only served to fragment our various cultures. We have become pockets of once proud races, living in the darkest corners of the planet. And this isolation has created the same fear of each other that mankind once held for us.
The crowd was silent now. Every eye followed Asterion as he limped across the stage.
Where there is no exposure to other cultures, there is only stagnation, repetition, dogma. We have grown to rely on our strengths without wanting to improve our weaknesses. The wise think, the fast run, the strong kill. I have seen the cost of war between our kinds, and I also know the price of progress. I know that without understanding each other, we cannot hope to befriend each other. Without empathy, there can only be anarchy.
Asterion braced himself against the trunk of the Paradoxian tree to catch his breath, then continued.
That, my friends, is the true purpose of Camp Myth. To create an environment where all mythic creatures can work together and learn from each other. That is also why merit badges must be earned in groups of at least 3 different races. I urge all of you to step outside the comfort zones created by your own kind and accomplish goals by combining your skills.
He reached into his tunic pocket and held out a myth army knife.
Each of you have been outfitted with a special tool that will be invaluable in dealing with the challenges you'll face. Remember, though, a myth army knife is not a toy, and all of you are expected to attend the training seminar tomorrow afternoon to learn the correct uses for each attachment.
His voice dropped to a solemn tone.
Yeah, some of your tasks will be difficult, frightening, even quite dangerous. I admit there are perils associated with living inside this camp, but I also believe they are necessary to overcome. After all, if you do not know the proper way to deal with certain creatures in a controlled environment, how could you possibly handle them in the outside world? Again, teamwork will be the key.
I glanced across the table at Argy and Moxie, who were both absorbed in Asterion's speech and couldn't help but smile. Maybe the 3 of us would make for a pretty great team.
In closing, I remind you all that we have 123 unique races attending camp this summer. This means that you should leave here in 6 weeks from now with at least 123 new friends. I cannot wait to meet and learn from all of you in the coming days. Thank you, and enjoy your stay.
There was a thunderous round of applause as Asterion limped along the stage and disappeared behind the bend of the Paradoxian tree. Tessa began waving her hands like she was conducting an orchestra, and the sky lit up with fireworks. But they weren't just simple bursts of colour. These fireworks were all shaped like the various mythic races enrolled in Camp Myth, and each explosion gave way to a dazzling portrait. Glittering wings, sparkling tails, fizzing claws, gleaming teeth. At first, only members of a particular race cheered when their picture appeared, but gradually, each pattern drew more and more celebration until all of us were clapping and shouting for everyone. Fae, Cyclops, Kitsune, Dryad, Centaur, Redcap, Siren, Minotaur. Everyone.
This week's Camper Spotlight is Plato, the four-legged idol. Felix says, Plato is the kind of centaur who makes me ashamed to be a two-legger. He's a great athlete, loves to read, and has more fans around camp than some of the actual fan clubs. He'd be really easy to hate if he wasn't so darn nice. I wonder if he wants to hang out later. Plato was invented by Riley Krill. You can find the picture of him on the Camp Myth webpage. Cast of Wonders could use your help. We love to bring you free stories every week, but without you, we just can't do it. Please consider making a donation at castofwonders.org, where you'll find buttons for regular and one-time donations via PayPal, or help spread the word about our Camp Myth project and our weekly stories every Sunday by blogging or tweeting about us, writing a review on iTunes, or liking our Facebook page. There's a lot of different ways you can show your love for our tales of the fantastic. Camp Myth Phoenix Watching is a Cast of Wonders production brought to you by Wolfsbane Publishing and featuring the voice talents of Kate Baker, Adam Black, Tina Connolly, Graham Dunlop, Christiniana Ellis, Marguerite Kenner, Alethea Contis, Alistair Stewart, Ian Stewart, and Barry J. Northern. You can learn more about the world of Camp Myth at our website, castofwonders.org. Our weekly episodes are released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Share it all you like, but please don't change or sell it. The Camp Myth theme, August, is by Alexi Nov from musicalley.com. Thanks for listening.